I actually think that what is being suggested is reprehensible. And let me explain what I mean by that. Ask yourself, why is it that companies didn't adequately, compete, even today, against some of these large companies, particularly Amazon? There's nothing to prevent great retailers from creating a confederation without antitrust violations to actually create this consortium to compete, but they're not. But at the same time, the state isn't upholding its obligation to scrutinize and to regulate. So we need more from our leadership in government as well as corporate leadership.
So I'd start by saying that, firstly, Amazon is an extraordinary company, and it does create extraordinary value for many people. The quality of its management principles, how it's grown, its industrial processes, just extraordinary feats of human ingenuity that shouldn't be denigrated, even from a socialist point of view. The socialists at the start of the 20th century would have said, we want to imitate this and actually put it at the service of humanity rather than profit. So I think lots of the insights there are really, really important. What I would say, though, is when we talk about regulation, we talk about it in the abstract, I would want to offer just one sort of minute example here. Something similar, I believe, happens in France, which is you have a minimum price with regards to the delivery of a book. This sounds quite strange, doesn't it? What am I talking about? So you couldn't have the free delivery of a book if you were instituting a law like that in the UK. Let's say you have a minimum delivery charge of £3 for a book. All of a sudden, from any online seller, all of a sudden, of course, that increases the disincentives to buy online. It might increase the incentives to buy offline. That can be a charge which helps to revive, regenerate, reinvigorate the high street, public transport, etc. So that's just one idea, just a tiny thing. And okay, you might revive bookstores a little bit. You might get an extra 50, 60 bookshops. I think that would be a nice thing. I think bookshops are good things. I think it would be great to have a Daunt Books in every city in this country. I think it shows how backwards we've gone as a species, as a society rather, in this country in particular, that is viewed as just outlandish. A nice bookshop in a town or city is outlandish. It's just unimaginable.
I'm an author. I deliberately buy books at bookstores, and particularly independent bookstores. I'm all in on it. But I actually think that what is being suggested is reprehensible. And let me explain what I mean by that. Let me explain. It presumes that we know what the future is going to be. And I think that's epistemologically immoral, right? I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. I don't know what innovation looks like. I don't know what the right business model for ideas is. I do know that the stamp tax in the United States, which was a stamp on paper, made the crown, rich, but it also said the dissemination of ideas had to go through a censorship process that was controlled by the state, right? And had layered an economic tax on the dissemination of ideas. And I don't understand why books aren't free. Now, I can understand why that would be difficult for people to generate more books, but the key thing is that nobody should be able to say that they want to enshrine one business model from the past and make it durable for the rest of time. And that's exactly what we sometimes try to do in the case of, for example, trying to protect bookstores with this artifact of the book, thinking that we know what it is. Because why wouldn't we do that for Kindles as well, or for ebooks, right? That's the general point, that I think we should all face some humility relative to the future and innovation.
To continue watching this video, click the link in the top left or in the description below. Or visit iai.tv for more debates and talks from the world's leading thinkers on today's biggest ideas.